Hi Umesh, thanks for joining.
Hi, sir. Good evening. Thank you.
Good
Thank you for
evening.
sending the invite, sir. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Okay. All right, so let's get started. Hopefully, in some time, others will join the call. Great. Okay. So, as we know that in this weekly connect, we will solve some questions, practice questions. Today, we will solve questions from the schedule knowledge area. And we will try to solve 5 to 6 questions. Let's see how many questions we are able to uh, do today, but definitely not less than 5. Okay. And all the questions are from scheduling knowledge area. We know that for the PMP exam, we will get questions from both predictive and agile. So we will solve questions from iterative planning and then release planning, velocity, and then how we do scheduling in predictive. We will touch upon concepts like fast tracking, crashing, and then resource optimization, critical path, and so on. So already, shall we begin? I
Yes, we
hope.
can begin.
Okay, great. If you want, you can turn on your camera. Feel free, treat me as your friend. Let's know each other. Okay. So you can turn on your camera if you like. That would be more, more. It will improve the interaction level of this discussion. Good. Don't want to do it. That's who is courageous enough to do that. Okay. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to turn on the camera. Okay, right?
We are not a trek like you. That's the reason
Oh,
we are not.
yeah. I know it's
My
not the
location
case.
is my
You're
location is
giving a
totally
reason. Hi, Rohan. Thanks for turning on the camera.
my location is totally changed actually right now. So that's why my camera was not on.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rohan. At least I feel like I'm in a real classroom setup. How about others? Hi, Umesh.
Hi, sir.
Hanan,
Good evening.
Tanvi. Hi. Please try to turn on the camera. Would be very nice. Okay, I can see your facial reactions, like when you solve the questions and when we discuss the answer. I want to see like how you guys feel. Okay, let's get started with the first question. I hope you are able to see the question. You want me to
Yes,
zoom in, or is it fine?
a bit,
Yeah,
sir. Zoom in a bit.
is it fine now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we need to solve questions in 75 seconds. Okay, try to solve the question in 75 seconds. And once you're done with the question, we will get started with the discussion. Like, we will solve the question together. Okay. All right, let's solve this question. Okay, this is a tricky question. This question is based on when you plan a project, we should not exceed the resource limits set by your organization. Okay. Hannah, a project manager for a science fiction film, encounters an issue with the initial schedule she prepared. Okay. Which doesn't align with the key stakeholders' expectation due to over resource planning. So we are using so many people, and because of this, the schedule is not fine for the stakeholders. The excessive headcount planning. Okay, see, remember here we are not loading people with a lot of work. We are not mandating people to do more work per day. For example, let's say you can work only for 8 hours per day. If I make you to work for 12 hours per day, then this is a different problem statement. In this case, we're using more people. The excessive headcount planning exceeds the total number of resources, available resources in the resource pool. So your organization has a resource pool, and whatever schedule we prepare that demands more people. Let's say in your organization resource pool you have only 40 people. Okay, you can have not more than 40 people in your project, but whatever schedule you prepared, let's say demands 50 people, you won't be able to get this extra 10 people. Okay, so this is the problem stated in the question. To address this concern and complete the movie within the stipulated schedule constraint, Hannah needs to take appropriate action. Which action would be the best way to handle the situation, and what would be the impact of that approach? All right. Now, if you look at this question, we have problem with the resource planning. And when it comes to problem with resource planning, we have a technique called resource smoothing and another one called resource leveling. Okay. Now, when it comes to resource leveling, it's about addressing a real project constraint. Let's say if you when it comes to resources, if you load people more than their availability, or let's say if you have a shared resource, you need this person to work for you for 8 hours. Unfortunately, this person is a shared resource. Then we need to consider this resource constraint. So this is about loading. Whenever you have problem with loading, resource loading, then we need to address that with a resource leveling technique. When it comes to resource smoothing, it's a good practice. We use this to utilize the available float in the non-critical paths and use less number of people in the project. Okay. Now, in this case, we are not loading people. We are not overloading people. We are not expecting someone who is a shared resource to work in a project for 100% of his or her bandwidth. That is not the case. And if you look at option one, apply resource leveling technique, and the impact would be the overall project duration might increase. Now, we don't have to do this one because we don't, in this scenario, we are not overloading anybody. So you can eliminate this option. And applying crashing, but this will increase the overall project budget. Well, remember, if you apply crashing, you need more people. Do you agree? Crashing is about adding more people. We already have a situation here where we could not use, we couldn't get the required number of people. How can you add more people? And moreover, the question didn't ask us to compress the schedule, right? So you can eliminate this option as well. Now we are left out with two options. Let's see option D, apply fast tracking, and this will increase the overall project risk due to potential rework. Definitely, this is the side effect of applying fast tracking. Fast tracking means if you have a predecessor and a successor, this is the predecessor, this is the successor activity. We advance the start date of the successor with respect to end date of the predecessor. Okay. So how much overlap you create, that much amount of skill compression you can achieve, isn't it? Now, in this case, are we interested in compressing the schedule? Is it the problem we have? No, we don't want to complete the project faster. We want to ensure that we don't exceed the permitted limit of resources we have in the resource pool. Okay. Now, for this, what we need to do, we need to go with resource smoothing. So what we have to do, we have to study the project schedule wherever we have float. Normally, we will have float in the non-critical paths. Now we need to reduce the number of people, okay, we have in the activities which are in the non-critical path. Now, when we do this as a side effect, the size duration of the activities where we're reducing the resources will get increased. Okay, for example, you assign 2 people to work on a task that's going to take 5 days to complete. If you make that to 1, then apparently this 2 days of duration will become 4 days because you are using half of the resources you originally planned. Okay, so because of this, the amount of float we have in those non-critical paths will be eaten up by the resource smoothing approach. Okay, and therefore the option C is the right answer here. Now the bottom line is this question is set based on the knowledge fact. If you're having a problem with actual how much people you need to work in your project and how much is a limit set by your organization. All right. So if you have to tally this, then we use resource smoothing technique. Are you clear? Why option C is correct? Many of you got this one correct. And if anyone chose option D, you have to ask yourself, fast tracking and crashing are meant for compressing the schedule. And really, we are not in a need to compress the schedule. Understand? Good. Umesh, you have a question?
Yes, sir. So my understanding of this question is, so resource leveling is applied when we have to look at the time constraints of the project, adjusting the time of the project. So at that time, we will look into resource leveling.
Yeah.
And when it comes to resource managing, we will go with resource smoothing. Is it correct understanding?
Resource leveling is about, I don't want to load Umesh more than 8 hours per day. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say you have two tasks. There are two tasks like this concurrently done, and then there is a third task. Now, here, Umesh and Ahmed should work. Here, this task should be done by Umesh alone. Okay. Both are happening in calendar week 1, and this is calendar week 2. Now, Umesh cannot work for 8 hours here as well as here. This would be too much for Umesh. For next 5 days, for this whole week, Umesh will be working 16 hours per day. Now, if you have a problem like this, overloading the resources, then you go for resource leveling. Okay. Now, if you do resource leveling, definitely it will affect sometimes it will affect the critical path. It will extend the critical path. So what will happen here? So it's gonna become something like this. Okay. And then we will do this task. Now you see the overall project duration got increased because of we applied resource leveling. Are you clear? Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. All clear, everyone? Okay. All right. Now let's solve the second question. Again, you have only 74 seconds to solve this question. Okay, be ready. So it's a very straightforward question, but a tricky question. So please let me know your answer in the chat. This is the not type question. Out of the 4 options, only one is the odd man out. You have to find that option. And this is a radio button type question. Only one option will be correct. To trick us, sometimes PMI will set, something like this. You see here. This is a radio button type question. Only one will be correct. Okay. Only one option you can pick.
Yes, sir. I'm not able to see the chat.
Okay. You can.
Option
What
A.
is your option? Option A. Okay. TVS
Muhammad,
is
my option is C, yeah?
C?
Yeah.
You feel C? Okay. Don't get influenced by others' option, opinion, or answers. You do your own assessment, whether it is correct or incorrect. Only then you will be able to calibrate your understanding after I provide the explanation. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I had to read question 3 times to get to the, so it's like, no, my instant response was like, then I remembered what you said. Never go for your instant. Just read. If you are not sure, rule out what you don't think. Rule out what you don't think is right. Yeah.
Yes,
So, yeah.
yes.
Ahmad, I cannot see the screen nicely. Can you little zoom?
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah. Clear now? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Nichols says it's C. Okay. How about others? There are so many people in the call. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, let's solve this question. Anyone would like to give an answer now? A, B, C, or D?
C.
Okay.
Minus.
All right. So let's solve this question. This is from Agile scheduling. In Agile, there are 2 types of scheduling. One is on-demand scheduling, and then the other one is iterative scheduling. Okay, so this is from iterative scheduling. As a Scrum Master overseeing a website development project, you are facilitating the iteration planning. So currently we are engaged in iteration planning exercise for your team to construct the iteration backlog. Obviously, the key outcome of the iteration planning exercise is iteration backlog. And we do this on the day 1 of the sprint. What inputs are not necessary for developing the iteration backlog and successfully complete the iteration planning? Necessary means not essential. Okay, so some out of this 4 option, 3 are essential inputs for preparing the iteration backlog. 1 is optional. If you have, it's okay. But even if you don't have that one, still you will be able to do the planning. Now let's see the options. The first one is team velocity. What is your opinion? Without knowing velocity, we won't be able to know how much work we should assign to the um, teams, right? Iteration.
Yeah.
Let's say your team velocity is 25 story points. Okay. So we go and pick the product backlog items based on the priority, and we consider the size. For example, this one is of 8 story point, and this is of 13 story point, and this one is of 5 story point. We will only pick these 3 items because if you add up the story points of these 3 items, it will be roughly equal to 26, right? Now, how we pick this 3 item? Okay, this is enough for us because we are comparing the set of items we picked, the sizes, total. If we add up the sizes of all the selected items to the velocity, team's velocity. If you are picking items less than what your team could do, then you're underutilizing your team. If you assign more work, then we are overloading the team. Both are not good. So definitely this is an important input for doing the planning.
Iteration planning.
Yeah, preparation planning. And how about option C? It is also needed, right? Because see, if I don't have these numbers, 8, 13, 5, 12, 3, 2 story points, the sizes of the product backlog items, how can we figure out, okay, this many items we can do in this iteration? That cannot be done, right? So if you take this one, how we figured these 3 items can be assigned, because we know the sizes of the items, and in story points, we add them up and find out the cumulative value is 26. And so we decided, okay, let's not take one more item. It's enough because the team velocity is 25. So this is also important input for doing the sprint planning exercise. How about the sprint goal? We need the sprint goals. Otherwise, the team members won't be able to, that's the first and foremost thing. So let's say we are picking 3 user stories for this iteration. The PO will assign the sprint goals or iteration goals. The team members will, create the tasks, required tasks for each of the item. They will do the estimations for the items and do the resource planning, like who will work on this task and so on. So this is also important input. What is not needed, is not essential, is your iteration time box. Time box means how long what is the size of your sprints? Is it of 2 weeks? Is it of 4 weeks and so on? Remember, velocity already encompasses this number. Do you agree with me? Velocity is about how much work we can do per iteration. So let's say if you're calculating velocity, there are several factors influence velocity, team's velocity. How many days you have in a sprint, okay? And then that is technically how long a sprint is. If you're going with the iteration of 2 weeks duration, technically you have 10 working days. Do you agree with me? Yes, no, maybe, right? And next, we also, if you take velocity, it is also influenced by how many number of people you have. I'm going to work for 10 days. We're going to work for 10 days per iteration because our iterations are of 2 weeks duration. And we have 8 people in the project, okay, team members. And we can work for 8 hours per day. Now, if you do this, you're getting the team capacity. And with this capacity, how much work you are able to complete. That is about team's velocity, right? So team velocity is a function of the size of the iteration, number of people you're going to use, and how many hours per day they're going to work. You understand? So you don't really need this number if you have velocity. And therefore, this is the odd man out. And because this is a not type question, this question is also called as except, okay? Except or not type question. To solve this kind of questions, first we need to find out all the valid options and then eliminate them to pick the odd man out. And so in this case, B is the correct answer. Are you clear? Any doubts, questions? So to solve this question, we should have a deep understanding about how we do iteration planning. Okay, clear? All good, everyone? Please confirm me. One confusion, C option already include iteration goal. Option C, estimation. So we are talking about sizes of the user stories selected. Yeah. So yeah, of course we have the iteration goal. It helps you to easily eliminate that option. Okay, these 2 options. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
one confusion. It says
Hmm.
that, estimation for the user stories selected as per the iteration goal, right? So the user stories are already selected, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
See, the thing is, here we are talking about estimation. That is the main takeaway from this option. First thing is iteration goals. What are the user stories we're going to work on that is needed? Second, their sizes also needed. Only then we can see whether we are going to overload the team or we're going to underutilize the team. Understand? Because we need to add up the story points of the selected iteration user stories, which are assigned as this iteration's goal, and compare them against our velocity. So the total number versus the velocity. If there is no match, we say this is too much for the team or too less work for the team. Clear?
So wouldn't this be a part of the backlog, product backlog thingy? I mean,
Yeah,
when
of
we are
course.
doing the product backlog, then we'll be estimating the user stories, right?
No. User stories will be estimated prior to the sprint planning exercise. Okay, we will only
Yeah.
refine these numbers. You
Okay.
understand? So as soon as we are done with the first product backlog, initial version of the product backlog, after completing the product visioning exercise, we will estimate the sizes of the user stories. We'll play planning poker exercise, do it for the first time, and estimate the sizes for all the items we have in the product backlog. Later, as part of product backlog grooming, we'll refine them. But there will be numbers. If you take a product backlog, there will be two important attributes: size and priority. Okay. Then we will refine them later based on progressive elaboration. The more we learn about them, we'll refine the sizes. Okay. Yeah.
So
Good.
you're saying that when we'll assume, when we'll do the initial assumption for the velocity, then the iteration size would be, decided.
Iteration sizes will be fixed in the beginning of the project during planning stage of the project or during initiation. So let's say we all decided to go with the product owners, Scrum Master team members. They all discussed and finalized, okay, let's follow iterations of 2 weeks duration. Then this size will not be altered. We will continue with the same size for every iteration throughout the project. There are
Okay, so it
some
is not a part of the iteration planning thing.
planning. No, it's not part of the iteration
Okay.
planning. We
Okay.
should not keep on changing the size of the iteration. If we do that, velocity will not be stable. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we will have problem with the creating and maintaining burn up and burn down chart. We also have release planning. We will have a release plan, right? We use velocity to compute. I have a question on that as well. All these things will be challenged. Okay. Yeah. Great. Now let's solve the, yes, there are some questions. Yes, Jay Prakash.
Hello, sir. Hi.
Yes, please.
Just one clarification. So about point number C, estimation of user story. So as per my understanding, while calculating, story point, that time only they will estimate for the, they will estimate the user story, right? Not at the every iteration planning or is it so like?
No, we will see before we come to the iteration planning, the sizes of the user story should be clear. And if you take a product backlog, there could be like 25 items. All items will have the size. We will play the planning poker exercise during, once for all in the beginning of the project. All the items will have a size. Clear? And we refine the sizes of the selected items from the top of the product backlog as part of product backlog grooming. We do this before we begin the iteration planning or middle of the iteration, or we do towards end of the iteration. It doesn't matter. But when you start the iteration planning, the items which are assigned to you as the iteration goal should have sizes defined either in story points or idle hours. Okay, we don't have this concept idle hours for PMP exam, but before we begin the work, yes, they should have the sizes. But for every selected user story, we will do task list creation, and those tasks will be estimated during iteration planning. Yes, we do estimations, but we do estimation for the tasks which are created for that particular iteration. Are you clear? Jayaprakash.
Okay, I mean, you mean like uh, there will be some rough calculation, like rough estimation
Yes,
during the product backlog, and when you plan the task for that particular user story, then definitely like it will more like refined, kind of estimation we can say in that way, right?
exactly. If you take any standard author books or written on agile planning and agile project management, you'll see the items on the top of the product backlog will be very thin in size. Okay. And then after you see the middle, it will be big in size. And then in the bottom, it will be very big in size. The reason is the items on the top are well refined, the sizes are well defined, and the items on the middle are not that well defined. And the same with items in the bottom. They will be refined just before we begin the work when
Iteration plan.
when we do the when we yes exactly when we about to implement them. So initially we won't know about everything about every item. As we progress, we will learn more about the work scope and requirements. Now just in time we will refine the sizes. Okay, maybe let's say we're gonna do these items in fifth or sixth iteration. Maybe in end of third iteration we might do a product backlog grooming exercise. That time we will refine the items which are gonna be done in the near iterations. And you understand what I mean? Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah, got it. Yeah,
Yes.
got it, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Okay, we'll solve one more question. Yes. So this is about planning poker exercise, estimation, how we perform estimation in Agile. I will zoom in.
Sorry.
Good. Shall we solve this question? Already fine? Okay. Okay, good. During your product backlog grooming exercise, a particular user story is re-estimated. Okay, this will happen. It's a very normal situation. The more we know about the work, we will re-estimate and either reduce the size of the item or increase the size of the item. Okay. So a user story is re-estimated during the planning poker technique after discovering that the complexity of the user story is greater than what the team initially thought. So now probably this user story would have got a bigger size. Okay. Most of the team members are suggesting a size of 5 story points for that feature, while a few team members propose a size of 13 story points. So what should be done now? As a facilitator, so the Scrum Master is a facilitator, right? As a facilitator of the planning poker exercise, what would you do as a Scrum Master? Okay, this is a kind of conflict management. And to answer this question, you should know how a planning poker exercise is conducted. Also, the roles and responsibilities of people. Plus, you should know how to do conflict management. Okay, and especially when it comes to conflict management and facilitation, a Scrum Master is expected to act as a servant leader. So let's see the options. Apply conflict management techniques to resolve the dispute. So you are directly jumping into action. You should never choose this kind of options in the exam. Okay. This is one of the mindset we should have for the PMP exam. I recently published the article, a blog. Whenever you see an option that seems to be kind of, very direct and very, direct and more commanding kind of thing, solution, we should not pick that option. Okay. So eliminate this one. First, we need to let people to reach consensus. You cannot, jump in and say, okay, let's agree for this one. Let's go for this size or that size. You cannot do that. We should let people to talk, discuss, and reach consensus. Okay. Option B, ask the team members to explain the reasons to you and the product owner and recommend the size of the feature. So you are asking the product owner, as team members, to explain the reason to you and the product owner and recommend the size of the features. No, this should not be done. Okay. Remember, in Agile projects, Sizing is the power bestowed upon the team members. Are you clear? Yes, no, maybe. Whether it is estimating the task or estimating the sizes of the user stories, it's the power of the team. Only team members should decide. Even you cannot make a recommendation. Let's say team members are sizing a feature with 13 story point. You being a very experienced project, team member, or you are a project currently you are a scrum master, but in the past you did a lot of software development, and you know that for sure this won't take so much of time. So you want to recommend 8 story point. Can you do this? No, you should not do that. Okay, you should let people do size the features based on their their opinion or their agreement, and then if it's going to be right, well and good. If it's not right, then they will learn from the mistakes. Okay, so you can eliminate this option. Ask the team members to play the cards again to reach consensus. Okay, so let's keep this option open. D, facilitate the team members to discuss the reason behind the stories they offered for that story points they offered for that feature to promote learning and understanding before playing the cards again. Exactly. Now always remember, when there are two options which are very close, seems to be reasonable, you have to pick the option which is describing the next immediate action. Okay, now people should play the cards again. This is quite normal. When we play the cards for the first time to size a feature, we may not reach consensus. So the next step is to discuss, learn from each other. The first team member should tell why I size this feature with only 5 story point. The other team member should tell why we are sizing this with 13 story point. And they learn from each other. Okay. And once we understand learn from each other, we will be able to size the features better later. Okay, so that's exactly what we need to promote. So yeah, considering this option, this is the better option. So you can eliminate this option. Facilitate the discussion. People should learn from each other. We are promoting or helping people to materialize the benefit of collective wisdom. In planning poker exercise, remember the discussion what we do after playing the cards are so important. That's where we learn from each other. And then when we play the cards for the second round or third round, even we go till round 3 to size the cards. So every time we need to discuss and learn from each other, and with that better understanding, we should size the cards. And for that we have to play the cards again. Yes, size the user stories. Sorry, for that we need to play the cards again. And so if you compare option C with option D is more relevant, and therefore the right answer is option D. Are you clear? You agree with me? Many of you chose option D. Very good. Yes, any question, please?
I have one question, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, so basically, as per the rules of planning poker, as per the rules, so it says that if consensus are not reached, we have to play the game again. Right?
Yeah.
So why does the Scrum Master need to facilitate when the team knows the rules? And see, if they are not reached the consensus, they will have to again play the game. Why because as per the rules, it says if you are not reached the consensus, you will discuss among yourself the reasons for you are choosing the reasons and all. But here facilitation comes when people are not confident.
Yeah.
So,
see, the point is, it's not about whether people are knowing this. The point is whether the exam takers are knowing this fact. You understand?
So we have to think from exam point of view.
Yeah,
Sir,
yeah.
can I also add to it?
Yeah, please. Yeah, feel free to do so.
So Umesh, my question to you would be, why would you want them to play it again? Next time again, they will pick the cards. The same difference will come up. Unless they share why the difference is, and share their understanding and communicate why they are doing what they're doing, there will never be a consensus. In a way, you are still doing conflict resolution, but you're doing it with a servant leadership style, like Ahmed said, right? Because you want them to talk and communicate. There has to be a by-way communication for them to come to a consensus, and that will happen. You can play the game 15 times. You will come up with the same difference, right?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Certainly, that's so it's all
Does that
about.
help?
Yeah, exactly. If you want to reach consensus, for example, you say option A, I say option B, and let's say if you're not discussing, we won't be able to find out which is better. Now, consensus means, let's say your proposal is A and my proposal is B. After discussion, I understood from your explanation that A is better than B. So I'm going to give up on A and B and support A. Then going forward, we both have to support A. That's about consensus. Okay. So again, this question is about whether team knows about this or not. Whether the exam taker knows about this principle, this approach, how we do planning poker exercise. You understand? You will see many questions like this. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it in the next. So yeah, I think I will just have to relook at it again one time. Sure.
It's okay. We are just learning. So we have to
I
calibrate our
also
brain
think,
thinking process. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, I also think is to look at the function of the Scrum Master at this point,
Yeah.
which they're saying, look, as a facilitator. So what
Yeah.
will he do? It's
Yeah,
not about whether they
exactly.
say yes or no, but what would the Scrum Master do at this point? And that is where I actually look at to pick up my answer and say, look, it's going to facilitate the whole program, which also would mean repeating, playing the poker card again.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Can
Yeah.
I add one point?
Yeah, please, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I think the gentleman Umesh argument is like this: team knows everything. Okay, so they are familiar with the planning purpose and everything. If they don't have the consensus, they can discuss among themselves and they can play a game. Okay, that is his argument. What I understood it. But the question is like here. The question they ask: what would you do as a Scrum Master?
Exactly.
The planning poker. Scrum Master is also part of that game, but he is not directly involving it. But he is also part of that panel. So he is a servant leader.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the role of the servant leader? Whenever any consensus are not reached, that is a point he jumped into the scene and facilitate the discussion.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Oh, you are saying like this. What's the reason behind 4.5? Okay, because these are two extreme level, 5 and 13. Maybe the people put the 0.5, they may fail to understand the severity of this user story. Sometimes the person giving a 13 story points, okay, analyzing everything, sometimes he may not have the knowledge that is whether they had the similar type of problem earlier they had done or not. If they had done similar type of problem, they can use those code. So I think this is a very good discussion, but we should think about the question also. What would you do as a Scrum Master?
Yeah,
so
true,
this
true.
Is the key point.
Thanks, Vallabhan. Yeah, that's a very valuable point. You may start processes like the team members should be aware of this by default, but then why we need to tell this to the team members? But as his question is in a way correct, and the point is whether people are knowing or not. The question is set to check whether we are aware of this. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now we will solve a question from Kanban. Okay. So here we have a question from Kanban. We will extend this discussion for 10 more minutes. If you're fine, we will solve this question and wrap up the discussion. Okay. All right. So this question is from Kanban. On-demand scheduling. So please try to solve this question. And if you're new to Kanban, I have a wonderful article, blog on Kanban. I will share this with you. Okay, you can use this blog to learn about Kanban and on-demand scheduling. Yeah. With this, we'll close today's discussion. You can use the formula to find out the current throughput and improved throughput. Okay. Take the amount of time given and divide that by the cycle time of the bottleneck process step. You will get the throughput value. Vallabhan, you have a question?
I think so. It's a residue from when he was talking.
Okay.
Before.
Thank you. Throughput is equal to given time window and divide that by the cycle time of the bottleneck process step. Okay. Okay. Shall we solve? Ready? Okay. People who couldn't use the chat, you can let me know your answer before we start the discussion, before we solve this question. Okay. Let's solve it. In an agile team, utilizing Kanban methodology, remember Kanban is different from agile, Scrum. Okay. Scrum is based on iterative scheduling. We use velocity to do the scheduling. When it comes to Kanban methodology, it's also an agile methodology, but it is based on throughput. Okay, we don't use velocity here to do the schedule. We use throughput to prepare the schedule. So in an agile team utilizing the Kanban methodology for the project, the bottleneck process step cycle time is identified as 2 hours. Now, if you want to calculate throughput, we need to know the cycle time of the bottleneck process step. So it is already given in the question. Okay. The team operates for 8 hours each day. Okay. So this is the time window. How many hours per day they work. To increase the throughput, the project manager decided to increase the resource allocated to the bottleneck process step from 1 to 2. So there was only one person working on the bottleneck process step. Now one more person added. So it is expected that the cycle time of the bottleneck process step will come down. Okay, will get reduced by half. Determine the team's daily throughput after allocating 2 resources to the bottleneck process step. Now here we are expected to calculate daily throughput. Okay, so if you want to calculate daily throughput, the time window is per day team members work for 8 hours. Okay, and we already have the bottleneck cycle time. Cycle time of the bottleneck process step. Now let's visualize this, process. Let's assume there are 4 processes here. So this is A, B, C, and D. There are 4 process steps. Assume cooking process. So first we have to clean the vegetables. Then we need to chop them. Then we need to, cook the food, and then serve the food. Okay, there are 4 process steps. Okay, so this is about the dinner, preparing the dinner. So this is the whole process. Now in this, cooking is the bottleneck process step. Okay, so this is going to take, let's say, 8 hours in this case. Okay, and other things might take lesser time, and we don't have any information about the other process steps, cycle time of other process steps, but it is found that the cycle time of this bottleneck process step, okay, this is the bottleneck, is 8 hours. Now, how fast you unpack the vegetables, how fast you chop them, how fast you serve them, cooking is the bottleneck. You cannot produce, so let's say you continuously produce meals, okay, how much meals you can produce per day, that's the question. If cooking is going to take 2 hours, so in this case, sorry, this is not 8 hours, 2 hours. Okay, so to prepare every meal we're going to take 2 hours. Cooking time is 2 hours. So maybe this one, unpacking might take 20 minutes, and this might take chopping them might take another 40 minutes, and then serving the food might take 15 minutes, but this is going to take 2 hours, so technically 120 minutes. So the rate at which you can produce a meals is controlled or decided by the cycle time of the bottleneck process step, right? So now the question is, if you do this way, if you're going to take 2 hours to prepare a meal, because the bottleneck cycle time is 2 hours, in 8 hours we would be able to make only 4 meals. Do you agree? Right, because 8 hours is the time window. 8 hours is the time window, and per meal we're gonna take 2 hours. So 2 hours is the cycle time of the bottleneck process step. Therefore, we can prepare 4 meals. Now we added one more resource here. So initially, in each process, we don't know about the other processes, but previously in the bottleneck process step, we had only one person. Now to increase the throughput, another person is added. So 2 people gonna do cooking. Okay, so therefore 2 meals can be prepared simultaneously. And so what will happen? The cycle time will come down by 2. Okay, because 2 people are cooking simultaneously. So whatever vegetables are ready for cooking, one person will begin the work, cooking process, and the next person also will begin the work. So two meals will be prepared simultaneously, and it is expected that this will come down by half. The cycle time of the bottleneck process step will be reduced by half. That means it's going to become 1 hour now. Now, if this is the case, now in 8 hours, how much meals we can produce? We're going to take only 1 hour. So that is the time window given is 8 hours here. Okay, that is daily throughput. Okay, and now the cycle time of the bottleneck process step got reduced from 2 hours to 1 hour because we increased the number of headcount from 1 to 2. Therefore, we will be able to produce 8 meals per day, right? Therefore, the right answer is 8. Okay. Now, the idea about this, the why I said this question, why we are discussing about this question, there are good chances that you will get 2 questions from on-demand scheduling. Okay, because when it comes to agile questions, PMI cannot set a lot of questions only from Scrum. They need other options. And as part of the syllabus, we also have on-demand scheduling. Along with Scrum, we also have on-demand scheduling. So definitely you can expect 2 to 3 questions coming from on-demand scheduling. Okay, that is Kanban methodology. Now I have a blog for you. I have already shared the link. I'm sharing the link once again in the chat. So please refer to this blog as part of your exam preparation. Okay, and I will just show you this blog and close today's discussion. So it's for free. You can share it with even other friends or people who are preparing for the exam. So here I refer to many reference material recommended by PMI for learning on-demand scheduling and Kanban methodology, and summarized all the findings. Okay, so we'll start with the difference between iterative scheduling and on-demand scheduling, and then the same example what I gave now, right? How to identify the bottleneck process step, and here I have a sample calculation for you. Okay, how to calculate the throughput, and why Kanban is called pull type mechanism, pull type scheduling, not push type scheduling. Okay, so you'll understand this one. Sometimes you might see this one, pull type scheduling, why Kanban is pull type, not push type. And you could also see what is the difference between a Kanban board and a task board. They're not same, they're different. Okay, we need to know this. Sometimes you'll see both options. One option will be task board, another one will be Kanban, but we might think, okay, to us they are same, but actually it's not the same. Technically they are different. Okay, Kanban board will have only 3 columns: to do, in progress, and done. When it comes to task board, you can have any number of columns, and you have something called WIP, work in progress. Now this makes the Kanban board a pull mechanism, not a push mechanism. You cannot push a work from to do to in progress and in progress to done. Once the item is done, it will be moved from doing to done. Then there will be empty slot. For that, a new item will be pulled from the to-do list. So nobody can push from to do to doing column. That's not possible. Okay, but in task board it's possible. And you will also find the connection between resource utilization and throughput. Okay, WIP limit and how they influence the throughput. So it's a very useful blog. So kindly read it. It is, you can finish it in 2 hours maximum, and take the required notes. And definitely this will help you to solve 3 questions, maybe maximum 4 questions in the exam easily. Okay. Yes. So with that, we are done with today's discussion, Q&A discussion. If you have any questions or doubts, you can let me know. All good, fine? Yeah, I think we solved 5 questions today, right? Yeah, 2 from Predictive, 3 from Agile. Okay. Yeah, and next week we will solve questions from risk management. So this will happen every week. So until you pass your exam, you can participate in this discussion. Okay. Yeah. Great. Okay. Then if all good, we will close today's call. Any questions? Are you fine? Can we close?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Thank you for
Great.
your time.
Yeah, most welcome. Most welcome. Pleasure is mine. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, most welcome. Okay. Take care.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
meet
Bye
next
bye.
week. Bye. Bye, everyone. Take care. Bye. You're welcome. Welcome. Bye.
Bye, Ahmed.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Ahmad. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.
Amy, can we close the call?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Bye, everyone.